video game. Some other stuff happening this week, so, you know, obviously the baby's here, but I'm not just doing the baby stuff. I kind of briefly mentioned last night I was up pretty late working on Spider-Gwen stuff. That kind of worked out pretty well. I'm finding ways to be able to, like, hold him and also, you know, still get stuff done on the computer, and it's in a way where, like, I'm still very aware that he's there, but it means that I can kind of multitask a little bit and not feel too bad. So that's good. Now, of course, yeah, the Spider-Gwen stuff, which I really want to get done. I just want to be done with it. And it's feeling like this thing where it's like, if I can just get done with that, then I can enjoy my son, and then I can enjoy Metal Gear Solid 5, and I can not have anything that requires too much creative brain power for a little bit. And I can just relax and I can focus on, like, the clear things there. Let's talk about Metal Gear Solid 5 for a second. This is a game which I've been joking has been, like, competing for my son's affection because I knew it was coming out September 1st, and every one of these games has been a huge milestone for me. And so, of course, how am I going to balance wanting to play this game so much and having a son and needing to help Liz and, you know, being a good father and all that? And my solution, as I think I mentioned, was I'll just play it on my commutes. Which, by the way, is going to be kind of funny because, like, 2 weeks after the game comes out, when I'm sure I'll be, like, really into it, I have to give up the laptop for a few days because it's not really my laptop, it's an office laptop, and they're going to take it to Rice and do some Oculus and VR stuff, so wish me luck making sure that works well, since I'm still running into some trouble with this whole NVIDIA Optimus technology, which does not seem to go well with the Oculus, but hopefully I can find a way around it. I've noticed the laptop has been doing a lot of the orange light, which means that it's using the GTX 970, even if it doesn't seem to need to, so maybe that's hopeful, but of course now I'm doing a factory reset on it, so who knows what's going to happen there. So yeah, all the Metal Gear Solid games have been huge milestones in my life. They're just as important to me for what they are in themselves as what I was going through in my life at those various points. I remember being 11 years old, really playing this incredible game with my brother Matt at our local Walmart, and being like, oh my god, this thing's so cinematic, like the credits are rolling and the music's incredible, and it's, you know, I'm not shooting people, I'm like trying to hide from people, and just had this incredible feeling. And we asked for it for Christmas, and we were so worried that we wouldn't get it because it was rated M for mature, which requires you to be 17 or older, and I was 11 and Matt was 9, and it's like, ugh. And then luckily my parents just saw it on our Christmas list and didn't think too hard about it, and nothing about the cover, which was just white with Metal Gear across it, nothing about that, you know, screamed out bad, so they bought it for us, and it was wonderful, it was amazing, and I remember playing it in the playroom and being stuck on the Sniper Wolf battle, and Matt and I trying to get through the torture scene and, like, tapping the circle button as quickly as we could and feeling horrible every time we failed, and it was wonderful. It was this incredible experience. Metal Gear Solid 2, we downloaded the trailer for this thing on our 56K modem 50 times because it would always, we'd leave the computer on overnight, and this is when, you know, the internet would take up the phone line, so we could only do it at night, and we'd leave the internet on overnight downloading this 90 megabyte trailer, and it would always, like, cut halfway through, and then we'd watch, like, that, you know, 5-minute section or something that we managed to download over and over and over, and it was incredible, and it gave me goosebumps just hearing, like, the opening notes, the and then you hear, I stare at the stars and the sky up above. And yeah, goosebumps. I was so excited about that game. And then, of course, it came out, and there was the whole thing with Raiden, and I wasn't quite sure what to make of that. And I've had very back and forth feelings about that game over the years, but the gameplay I thought was incredible. Metal Gear Solid 3, I remember playing that in my room. The demo was amazing. The opening Halo jump, the fact that you're playing this big boss now, this jungle environment which felt very open world, and again, incredible music. Harry Gregson Williams doing everything in MGS2 and MGS3 was so powerful. And that ending sequence, like, I remember, now this part was in the playroom at our house, I remember hitting that end part and realizing, like, this whole double agent thing that had gone on, and it was so powerful and so affecting, and this whole idea that, you know, has gone through the games of, like, what do you fight for, what drives you to do what you do as a soldier, but, you know, it can apply to pretty much anything in life, like, what's your raison d'etre, what's your reason for living and for doing the things that you do. And God, I just bawled my eyes out, and then that song played at the end, and the end credit songs have always been perfect and hit, like, just the right note, just like the ending to all the games have been very, very powerful and emotional. And you know, I was thinking a little bit, just kind of off on a tangent. I actually was playing a little bit of the original Metal Gear Solid this week. Because, you know, it's one of those like, pregnancy stuff and my childhood is going to end and I have to be an adult now. Go back to a thing that I remember from childhood. And, you know, I can also say it's in line with getting ready for Metal Gear Solid 5. But what I thought was really kind of masterful about the narrative in the first game that I'm realizing the other games haven't done so much of is feeding the audience information that comes from a privileged position, so Snake doesn't know it, but then you don't really understand it yet either. So it's stuff that Snake doesn't know, you do know it, but you don't understand it. Stuff like with the DARPA chief and Psycho Mantis earlier on, and seeing Liquid Snake saying things that Snake can't hear. And then as that all came together and you realized how orchestrated everything was, Snake was a pawn in it all, how all those little snippets of things that you'd heard of, how it all made sense. And feeling like, I should have known all along. So that was a really cool narrative technique that I'm surprised the later games haven't taken more advantage of. But, you know, they've all had these incredible boss battles. MGS4 I got in 2008. I was working at my first architecture job at Breadloaf Corporation in Middlebury, Vermont. I was living with Liz in Richmond, Vermont. I did not have a PlayStation 3. I kind of promised Liz I would not be buying a PlayStation 3, so my deal with her was that I would rent one just for the time I was playing Metal Gear Solid 4. And so I actually went to a rent-a-center and said, oh, hey, can I rent one? And I didn't realize the rent-a-centers, it's like rent to own, so they were like, yes, but you're not going to save that much money. And in retrospect, of course, I should have either just bought it and, you know, made some kind of deal with Liz for it, or I could have just bought one and sold it, you know, a few weeks later and gotten pretty much all of my money back. Yeah, I played that game, and I remember, I remember going to Shadow Moses, and this whole idea of returning to the same site that the first game took place. So there's 1998, 2008. Something had taken place 10 years earlier. So I was 11, now I was 21, and God, that's crazy to think. That seems like I was so young, 21. And just really, really feeling an incredible sense of nostalgia and this pang of feeling, whatever you want to call it, and hearing The Best Is Yet to Come. That was such a beautifully orchestrated sequence, and then you get to do all sorts of cool stuff, like, you know, battle Metal Gear Rex with Metal Gear Ray, and the game had so many great set pieces, although I do think, if I'm honest with myself, that there was way too much, you know, trying to explain every single aspect of the game, and everything came down to nanomachines, basically. But the ending was still very powerful. I kind of wish Snake had actually died. I think that would have been a more affecting ending. I felt like kind of a cop-out to make you think he killed himself, but then he didn't. But I guess Hideo Kojima said, like, his staff wouldn't let him do that. Anyway, what am I getting at? All these games have been incredibly meaningful to me. I have such clear memories of experiencing them for the first time and what was going on in my life. And now we're coming up on the fifth one, and this is Hideo Kojima's last game. The first game came out in 1987, July 7th, 1987, I believe. And 7/7/87. That's crazy. And I'm 6'6", 87. And now this new game is coming out like right when my son is born. How crazy is that? So there's this kind of full circle thing to the whole thing, and Hideo Kojima's leaving, kind of bad terms with Konami. Early reviews have started to come out for Metal Gear Solid 5. Just a few thoughts on these early reviews before I get to actually experience the game. They're basically saying the gameplay is incredible. They're saying that it is unlike any stealth game, any Metal Gear game ever done, and it's consistently fun, it's addicting, it lets you create your own set pieces, create your own incredible stories, and it really does allow you to use a huge variety of strategies in all these different missions. And it's Peace Walker 2. I didn't even mention Peace Walker. I got a PSP pretty much just so I could play Peace Walker. Although that's not true. I guess I got a PSP back in like 2007, and Peace Walker came out in 2010. Anyway, though, that game was... Here's what I'm getting at. The negative reviews for the game so far, for Phantom Pain, are saying that the story does not live up to the other Metal Gear stories. And I love the ridiculous, convoluted, emotional, soap opera-y, beautifully auteuristic narratives from the previous games. And so let me start by saying I love that. There's so many moments that have made me cry and tear up and feel such strong feelings across this game series. And so to hear that that's not going to be a big part of this final game really makes me sad, especially because it seems like there's ripe opportunity to really hit some strong emotional notes as you bridge the gap of the timeline. And I'll say this though, it is the gameplay that has kept me coming back to play more, except with the exception of Metal Gear Solid 1. The gameplay, of course, feels pretty outdated now. I play it time and time again because of the story, because of the narrative, and I just really love the experience of going through the beats of that story, and the gameplay just is like a nice background thing I can kind of just go through the motions of. All the other games since then, so I'll usually watch the cutscenes and enjoy them, but I play them because the gameplay is so good. And Peace Walker, incidentally, even though I'd say it probably is the weakest story, my personal opinion, of all the Metal Gear games, I probably put the most hours into that one. I think I put in like 150 plus hours into that game, and that's because of the gameplay. And so I predict that I'm going to be putting in so many hours into Phantom Pain, but that's the thing is, left to my own devices I would, but I have a son now and I have these other projects and I work and I have a train ride every day. So we'll see what happens there. But I think left to my own devices I'd put an enormous amount of time into this because this is basically Peace Walker 2, and everything I liked about Peace Walker, the base building, the bite-sized missions, the R&D stuff, developing your own weapons, the Fultoning, recruiting stuff to your base, people to your base, all of that has been put on steroids for this next game, and I think I'm going to love it. I think I'm going to love the gameplay so much, and God, it's a shame David Hayter isn't in there. It's a shame that the cutscenes are not really there. It's a shame that for some reason Snake is suddenly a silent protagonist, even though he's never been that in the past. Kind of a strange choice, Hideo Kojima, but I think I'm going to love it. I really think I'm going to love this game a lot. I'll say it now. I'm going to say I think it'll probably be my favorite game of all time. So that's all I'm going to say for now. That's going to be coming out a week from today. Pretty crazy. And my God, I just hope I'm done with all my little projects so that I can focus on that, focus on Alistair, have a little bit more of a directed life for a little bit. Family's going to be coming up in the next few months. That's going to be really great. I guess we're nearing the end of this episode. Yeah, we're getting near the end. Really cool now to be at this phase where, we've spent 9 months being like, yeah, here's all the crazy things I'm doing because I don't have a son yet. Now I have a son. Now life is in the process of changing. It's already changed. It will continue to change. And I'm really curious to see where it goes. I'm going to try to continue to be honest in here. I'm a pretty upbeat, optimistic guy, but if I'm feeling really frustrated by things, I want to talk about that. I want to be able to track what that's like. And